Hello, it's Sonia here with the Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Wednesday and that means it's the stitch of the week. So today's stitch is a super easy one. So if you are a beginner, you can do this stitch. And for this stitch, I recommend using a slightly larger hook. So I have a J hook or a 6mm hook. She's a little banged up, but she'll do the job. And I have worsted weight yarn or number 4 yarn. So this would be a good stitch for, thicker yarn, real large hooks. If you would want to use a super large hook, this stitch would work really well for that. So this is just a twist on a single crochet stitch. So it's like a thicker version of a single crochet stitch. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call it, but it's just a single crochet with a twist, I guess, but we're not twisting the yarn. Alright, so let's get started. So I'm just going to work a chain of 7. And with this stitch pattern, you can, work as however many chains you would like. There's no specific chaining with this one. Alright, so for the first row, we are just going to work single crochet in the second chain from our hook. You can work on your chain however you would like to. And you're just going to continue to single crochet across. So single crochet is a very basic stitch. Not my favorite stitch, but it definitely has its place in the crochet. In crocheting, you will use it a lot. So you do want to make sure you know how to do it. And it's one of the first stitches if you're learning to crochet that you probably learn. Alright, so at the end of my row here, I will have a total of 6 stitches. Because I chained 7 and we worked in the second chain from our hook. And so that gives us 6. And my yarn is getting tangled up. So just hold on a minute. Alright, so we fixed the yarn situation. So as I said before, I have 6 single crochet. So now we are going to chain 1 and turn. So it's single crochet with a twist. So we are going to single crochet again, but we actually are going to single crochet over top of these single crochets we just made. So you are going to insert your hook in the bottom of your chain. So pretend you're working, well, you are working in the chain again, and you're going to single crochet over top of a single crochet you just made. So you want to make sure that you keep your tension a little bit on the looser side. You don't have to have it so tight. That's why I said to use a larger hook. I think this stitch works better with a larger hook. So you're just going to do that all the way across, just working back in your chain, single crocheting around that single crochet. So it kind of gives it just a little bit of a chunkier look there, a thicker. It's like a thicker single crochet. Maybe we'll call it a thicker single crochet. And we're just going to keep going all the way across. So very, very simple. So basically you're just repeating single crochet, but you're just single crocheting around the other one. So I'm working in my last stitch there. So there is my row 2. So this stitch is reversible. So all of your odd rows are just going to be regular single crochet. So here's the back side of what we just did. So I chained 1 and I turned, and I'm just going to single crochet like normal all the way across. And as I said before, just keep your tension a little bit on the looser side. I mean, not terribly loose, but you want to make sure your stitches are nice and even, but you don't need to have them super tight with this one. So it might seem a little redundant single crocheting over top, but it does create a really nice thick fabric. So I think this would be a really nice stitch for a hat. If you wanted a nice thick warm hat, this would be a really good stitch for that. Alright, so we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So now we are working row 4. So we're going to repeat what we did for row 2, but instead of working around or going back in the chain, we're just going to go back into the previous stitch we just made. So right there on top of that one, and pulling up my loop, and we're just going to continue to single crochet around that guy. So the rows won't build up too quickly because you're kind of just going over what you did, but again, it does create a nice, interesting, thicker fabric. And if you do use a larger hook, it is going to go a lot more quickly, and also if you use thicker yarn too. So there is my row 4. It looks like we've only done 2 rows, but we've done 3. Or 4, I'm sorry. We've done 4 rows. Alright, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn. I'm at row 5 now, and that's just a regular single crochet row. So all of your odd rows will just be a regular single crochet. So I'm going to repeat this. I will show you one more row and then I'll work a few more rows. And I do suggest when you are, if you're doing this stitch, I would end it on, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, on an even row. Because you don't want to end it like this because it doesn't really match these guys. Okay, so now this is row 6 and I'm just going to go back in, chain 1 and turn my work. Go back in and single crocheting around those guys. So just a little bit of a variation of a regular single crochet stitch, just mixing it up a little bit. You know, and a nice stitch for a beginner. You know, if you're getting bored with just working regular single crochet, you still are, but you're just kind of mixing it up a little bit. So that's why I kind of think a single crochet with a twist there. So I've technically worked 6 rows, but it looks like I've only worked 3. So I will work a few more rows and I will meet you back. Okay, so here I am, I'm back, and I've actually worked 10 rows, even though it looks like 5 rows. So you might be wondering why, you know, you would do a stitch like this. And I do think there could be a couple projects that you could use this for. As I said before, I think it would make a very nice hat. I also think this would be really nice for a blanket too, if you used, as I said, like a lot of people like to work with chunkier yarn. And if you use this stitch for that, you know, a very large hook, I think it would create a really nice weighted blanket. Some people really enjoy a weighted blanket, and I think this would probably produce that type of fabric. I also think this would make a really neat edging around a blanket instead of just the normal, you know, single crochet. If you did this one, it would just create a little bit of, you know, that little extra interest there. So I do think you could, you know, this stitch has its place. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and I thank you so much for watching.